Alright, so this is my 3-wheeler. It's got a Predator 212cc engine on it from Harbor Freight. I built this speaker. I got a video on my channel of the breakdown on it. It's got a hoverboard battery in it with a couple other goodies you can see on the video if you look at it. Then it's got a 3-speed hub on here. Usually I have it hooked up, but the main reason why I'm making this update video is because when you use the rear brake on that, it likes to make the axle twist. So I had a bad bearing, I believe, in one of these sides, which helped it twist even worse, made my axle pretty much bend, but mainly because I was braking. And even with a good bearing, it was twisting it. Like you would actually be able to see the metal twisting. So using the back brake on one of these hubs on something like this isn't really recommended, because it's too much torque. This is still trying to, the sprocket on this side is still trying to spin while you're trying to brake it here. So a good rear brake setup would have to be somewhere closer to this wheel or something. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really figured out a good rear back brake for this yet. So I just stick to the standard front grabber brakes, and they do fine. I mean, just, you know, don't try to be doing 50 and expect to stop real quick. But and another thing, this will do 50. It'll even do 60, but I don't go that fast on it. I got the speedometer there. I usually just cruise doing about 20, 25. That's cruising, just around the neighborhood. If I want to show off a little bit, I'll probably get it up to like 35, 40. But I mean, 50, I just was testing it, you know. Even when you get up there, you're scared. I ride a motorcycle, and it's not nothing you want to be playing with on one of these. If you're doing 50 on one of these, you would want to be wearing full gear for sure. Especially so under this is an old bike, and this had snapped at one point. I can't really show you, but I had to weld this whole piece back together, and that was around when I was pushing it doing 50. And yeah, it didn't break all the way, but it was about to. And yeah, so that's a weak point there. I also in my first video, these aren't there, but to help with the shaking, kind of put some rebar in there, just welded it together. So if I ever have to take this rear end from this, I would have to cut those. But the way I have them welded is perfect for installing the chain setup. So there's a rear sprocket that goes here. All I gotta do is just pop the axle out, and I can get that going. But I just haven't. This is kind of like a project that sits, but I'll ride it still, even like it is. It doesn't even have brakes right now because the brake broke. Here's my brake cable. It's supposed to go there. And yeah, so I'm using my feet on the ground right now, Flintstoning it. But yeah, so I know I have a 10 tooth, I believe, sprocket there. This is, I can't remember, I counted it at one point. I want to say it's around 55 or something around there. You can kind of see how it's welded on there. It's welded straight onto the shaft, and then I had to drill out some holes just to bolt it together, just so I had to, or really this is to bolt the wheel to this. So my wheel is actually bolted to the sprocket and the axle, all sandwiched in together. It's a wheel, sprocket, axle, back. Or you know what? No. Let me. Wheel, axle sprocket. The sprocket has a hole big enough to slide all the way down the axle, meets up with a round ring that's on the end of the axle, and it's welded to that, and it spins pretty true. Okay, so let's see if I can, if you just, I don't know how good that's getting on the video, but I know it's better than what I can see. So if you could tell, it spins pretty true. It doesn't it's not off or anything, even in the back. Now that I think about it, that'd be a good, let's see if I can line it up straight so you can kind of see. It's might have a slight wobble to it, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, even if it does, it's nothing major. With these thick chains, it's not, a little wobble isn't gonna be terrible, but that's only when you're talking a millimeter or two of wobble. But when you're talking, you know, 5-10 millimeters of wobble, then you got an obvious problem. When I was putting this sprocket on here, I had to smack it with a hammer a couple times to get it straight. This was a couple years ago when I made this, but I mean, it's been on there ever since. Haven't had any problems with the sprocket, haven't had any problems with the engine, haven't had any problems with, well, I've updated the frame a few times. I have a video on that, where I mount the engine, but that's just for extra strength and stability, and try to help it from shaking. It's not really shaky, I just was trying to eliminate all shake, you know. But I do have a clip of me riding with my niece and nephews, not going too fast, but just cruising, and I'll probably insert it here. All right, turn it back to one then. All right, leave it like that. So I'm gonna talk about the red velvet on here. It was a good idea when I thought of it. It's kind of faded now. I just let this sit out after I didn't, like you can tell, I don't know if you can see on the video, but the speaker is kept indoors, and the seats and everything else obviously is kept outdoors. So yeah, kind of faded. I'm gonna end up keeping the seats regardless. I'm gonna keep those red, even if I have to get new fabric for them. The handlebars and the fenders are all going black, and the speaker's gonna stay red. So the only thing that's gonna be left red on here is gonna be the speaker and the seats, and then the whole bike is going black. Maybe rims too. I kind of get skeptical with the rims because I always end up going back to this aluminum look. The aluminum look is cleaner as far as rims go for me. So the brakes is really the big thing on this. I mean, without that back brake on there, I can ride this all day, no problem. I can burn rubber or whatever I want to do, no problem, you know. And I also had a comment in the last video about the wheels and stuff, if this is too much torque for these rims. And this is a steel rim with steel, whatever these are called, I can't remember at the moment, spokes, there you go. steel rim with steel spokes. And I mean, I guess you can bend them if you, I mean, if you're hammering it and just, you know, trying to break it, they'll bend, and this whole thing will probably spin out. But I mean, I can burn rubber through this grass. I mean, not like I'm going crazy, you know, it only spins this wheel, this one side. But, you know, if I want to like burn a little rubber, I can, you know. It's not gonna, I mean, you see this wheel's 2 years old. I mean, I haven't had any problems. This wheel is older than 2 years old, but it's two. It's had torque on it for 2 years. Yeah, so if you're thinking of building one of these, my main suggestions would be put the sprocket there instead of in the middle, definitely. Because if this sprocket was here, oh, this thing is twisting all day. You're just blowing through axles. This whole axle, I had to cut it here, and then I had another 3-wheeler and took this part of the axle off the other 3-wheeler, cut the other 3-wheeler open here, and welded this axle to this one. So this axle and this axle that's in here were two separate pieces. I had to weld them together, and then I took a piece of pipe that's the same inner diameter as this right here, this axle, and I welded it over the where I welded this and that together. I had to do a lot, you know. I didn't do a video of it, but I basically had to cut this into like a V shape, and then the other side into like a V shape, and then weld them together, grind them flat, and then cut the other pole in half, put it on there, and then weld that all the way down and around on it just for strength. Because I had welded the previous axle together, and it ended up failing again. So yeah, just some axle pointers there for these. But other than the axle and the placement of the sprocket and brakes, and we all know those are going to be the main things you're looking at when you're trying to build one of these, other than this, pretty much making one of these work out. Which this had broke here at one point too. So I mean, I would have been better off meeting this here, or maybe even like filling it in with another piece and then welding it to it or something, but it just wasn't available at the time. I just ran out of materials at the time or something or another. But I ended up reinforcing it with that other piece over there. Got a video on that. I don't have a video on how I put all this on, but I mean, that's pretty elementary if you watch my other videos. You know, my daughter sits on it fine, and I can even, it doesn't look like there's a lot of room, but I'm not a big guy, you know. I weigh like 155, and I can fit another full-size adult weighing about the same as me, you know. Let's not get crazy here, but on the back seat, like up to 200 pounds, that back seat will probably hold. I'll give it that much. And they'll fit there, no problem. We can ride if we had to. This is a half-inch rebar. don't have brakes, so bear with me.